The schism is what has created the schism within human society that wasn't there before. And as I'll get to in the third section today, there's increasing evidence that this schism, indeed this voice went on to say, this schism is now in the process of being corrected. And the other thing this voice said was, people need to understand in relation to this, that every single thing is conscious. Some things more conscious than others, but everything has a consciousness. And in fact, the phrase it used was everything has a self-awareness, everything has a self-identity. And it was saying that this schism has a self-identity. It's consciousness. So it has a self-identity. And its self-identity is one of what we would call evil, but what in real terms is fundamental imbalance. Loss of harmony, loss of connection to what we would call in the first part of this presentation, heart consciousness. And so this energetic imbalance has become holographic imbalance in the way that it's decoded. Another interesting thing is that, again, I'll come to this part again in the last section with something else, but before the schism, the energy in this reality was so harmonious, so in tune with the human form, and so much more powerful that we didn't eat food. We lived off the energy, everything, because what is food? It's just holographic energy, that's what it is. And we consume food, we're consuming energy. We used to live off the energy. Some people, even today, it's very, very difficult today, because of the energy environment compared with what it was, still live off what they call prana. They live off energy, they don't eat food. And what I come to understand is that when this energy changed, and our ability to get sustenance from energy without food changed, we needed to bridge that gap. We needed to bridge that difference between the energy as was and the energy that replaced it in a much less powerful way, and to bridge that gap for the energy requirements of the body computer was to eat food. This also applied to what we call the animal kingdom. What it was saying was, before, there was no law of the wild. That's not how it was meant to be. You know, we live on a planet that's a bloody killing field. Everything is killing everything else and living off the demise of everything else. And crucial to that is the need for the predator to eat the predated. And so you have this conflict, this fear, where, again, adding massively to the fear as a expression of this schism energy, you've got animals all the time, and humans come to that too, but animals all day are in fear of predators. It's a constant experience of fear. And what it was saying was, although the Bible talks about the wolf laying down with the lamb, a lot of people talk about the lion laying down with the lamb. The point is, when there was no need to eat food and therefore be a predator, there was no conflict, there was no fear, and everything was in harmony. I know it's very difficult to get the mind around that, given what we're experiencing today, but if you think of harmonious energetic environment and then a very different one, the two express themselves physically, as they always do, in the society that we live in. So when these great cataclysmic events were taking place, people of advanced knowledge started to move before and after into other parts of the world. and they took with them this advanced knowledge. And as the world started to recover from these great cataclysmic events, certain societies in different parts of the world that were far more advanced than in other parts of the world started to appear. They started to appear based on this original knowledge that was global, which had now started to remanifest in a lesser way in isolated communities in these parts of the world particularly. And when you look around the world, you can see how the original knowledge in so many ways expresses itself in different ways, but it's the same knowledge in different societies, because the knowledge got fragmented and then went its own way in these, for a while, isolated societies, and so got expressed in different ways. But it's the same knowledge. Credo Mutwa, my friend, the Zulu shaman in South Africa, he threw the bones for me a couple of times. These are carved bones, which the symbols represent something, and he brings the basket, you put your hands over the basket. What are you doing? You're putting your energy field into the energy field, because everything's energy. We're decoding it into a physical, like a bone or something, but actually it's energy. You're putting your energy into the bones. And those symbols, by what they represent, carry a frequency field of what they represent. And therefore they lock into your energy field in certain ways where they sync with things that are happening in your energy field. So then you throw the bones, and where the bones end up is decided before you've even thrown them, when they're in the basket, because of the energetic, magnetic connections that have been made there. And then you throw them, and then they become like a symbolic, to one who knows what they're doing, a symbolic picture of what's going on in your energy field. And people like Credo Mutwa look at the relationship of different things to each other, and they read them in that way. But the point I'm making is when he did that for me, I thought, it's just like throwing the rune stones in another part of the world. It's just like the tarot cards in another part of the world. Same reason. The reason you pick that tarot card out and not that one is because of the energetic connection you make to that one, because that symbol represents something within you. It's all energy. It's all magnetic energy connecting. And also, as these advanced peoples moved into these different parts of the world, one being Atlantis civilization, and the other one Mu, or Lemuria, as it later became known to some people, they took, indeed before the cataclysms and after, they took this advanced knowledge and built these fantastic structures, that some of which we'd even struggle to build today, because they were operating on a level of knowledge that is not available in the mainstream today, though we're getting there. This is Peru, where these, because mainstream history, it's like primitive, less primitive, less primitive, less primitive, us. There's no like, hey, it could be not quite that simple. And when you go to these advanced times, way, way back, you see fantastic structures. These are hundreds of tons, these stones, and you couldn't put a cigarette paper between them. Primitive people built them, read it somewhere. Then you've got the Nazca lines in Peru, which were only seen in their entirety, these insects and birds that are created by scoring away the topsoil and revealing the white below in one continuous line. And some of them were only seen in their entirety in modern times, when people were flying over them at 1,000, 2,000 feet. And this is a key area of the world in terms of that re-emerging knowledge after the cataclysmic times, sometime afterwards too. And these are the ancient societies that were more advanced than so much of the rest of the world. And there's a common theme that you find among these ancient societies, along with the cataclysms and stuff like that, and that is of an interbreeding between what clearly appeared to be a non-human race and humans, to create hybrid bloodlines. Now, this, of course, is the most famous one. It's in the Bible. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were the old men of renown, in Genesis. But that basic theme of an interbreeding between a non-human race and humans creating a hybrid bloodline is found all over the world. It's found in this area of the world, which, in terms of the bloodlines that are in the positions of power today, is very, very significant. This area of Sumer, which